My 22F boyfriend, 43M, got offended that I wouldn't open a joint bank account with him. I appreciate all opinions given, but I'm especially curious to see men's perspective on this. He got his feelings hurt by that because though we've only been dating more officially, so for the past 3 months we've known each other closer to a year. We met through a work dinner party. We've exchanged the L word already. I said it first, which is a first for me. I already knew in the beginning he wanted to have kids in the future, since that was one of 2 biggest complaints he had about his ex. She didn't want kids. But I already have a son, so I told him if things truly work out between us, I would consider giving him a child. He talks about his hopes and dreams for us and our future together all the time. But when he suggested us opening a joint bank account on more than one occasion, after having brushed it off the first few times, I know I should have said something sooner. But yesterday I had to tell him something about how thought made me uncomfortable for a few reasons. Past trauma with my son's biological father and him demanding access to my bank account just to drain it of my paycheck weekly even though he had a paycheck of his own. My boyfriend can make compulsive decisions due to ADHD, and we both also have our vices, and I just would worry that he would spend my hard-earned money on those things. I couldn't tell him that was part of it because that would probably send him spiraling down. Today he brought it up again out of the blue, saying he should stay in his place because I don't even want to open a joint bank account with him after he suggested something in regards to my son's diet. He's a chef. He's in a lot of debt, as am I. We both had to move back in with our families for different reasons. We both have had our share of struggles. Is this the type of love people say is worth the wait and struggle? That you have to be patient through? Edit. He just stopped by tonight after work. My father pulled him aside and they had a private conversation for a few minutes. When they get back into the house, my dad hands me keys and says to give my boyfriend a tour of my recently deceased grandfather's house down the street. When we got there, all my boyfriend said was that he didn't want to carry me in through the front door just yet. He liked my grandfather's house. When we got back in the car he said, "I'll make an honest woman out of you, I have to." Well, I may not be a man, but my opinion is that if someone is old enough to be your dad you shouldn't date him. Dating for 3 months and he wants a joint bank account? Dude is almost twice your age and sounds like a loser. You should find someone more age appropriate, or at least someone who has their shit together that late in life. If track down that ex and verify she didn't want kids, because I bet she didn't want kids with him. And for good reason. Anyway, sorry about the man shortage in your town that had led you to having to settle for this guy. I'm not a man either, but the fact he is harping on this and making a big deal of it is a red flag. You guys aren't even married and he wants shared bank accounts? My husband and I both kept our premarital bank accounts. We added each other, but neither of us spends from the other one's account. We could. We just don't. We've been married 18 years. How do I, 26 female, move past a comment my boyfriend, 28 male, made about my body? For context, I met my boyfriend around 7 months ago, and we started dating relatively quickly. I had gotten out of a terrible relationship about 6 months prior to meeting him, and didn't really feel ready to start dating, but he asked me on a date and I said yes because I thought it might help me get over my ex. I figured having a drink with someone couldn't hurt anything and probably wouldn't go anywhere. I was wrong, and we got along really well. Within a couple weeks of us being official, we were out at a bar together, and he said something along the lines of, "You have great genetics except for your boobs." This was incredibly hurtful to me, as this has been something I've been insecure about since I was a teenager. He's also made comments about other girls who have really large boobs and has told me this was his type before me, blonde and curvy, I'm skinnier and dark hair. Now I know this makes him sound not so great, but other than this he's very sweet and caring. I expressed to him how hurt I was by his comment and he genuinely apologized, but I just can't seem to get over it. I don't want him to see me naked or touch my breasts at all. Any comment he makes about them being positive I just don't believe. He somehow has made me hate that part of myself even more than I did before, and I just feel undesirable and sad. I used to enjoy sex, but lately I'm just forcing myself through it to get it over with so he won't continuously bother me about it. He said he was just joking and didn't realize how hurtful the comment would be. Man, I'm just so tired of letting men make me feel bad about myself. Sometimes I just want to be alone and never give anyone this power over me. A little dramatic, I know. Is there a way for us to move past this silly comment that he made while drunk? I'm considering ending the relationship. You have great genetics except for your penis. See how he likes that. To be honest, you may never get over it. You might start to find yourself sexy again once single and dating around, being pursued by others. His comments aren't the sort of thing you can laugh at and write off as a joke. Given how new the relationship is, breaking up over it is a totally valid reason. Just tell him, "Gee, I wish your penis was a bit larger. He gave you the ick." Maybe he'll learn with his next girlfriend. I say this with kindness. You say that you recently ended an abusive relationship. I think you may be falling back into old patterns by dating this guy. Abusive and/or toxic relationships don't all follow the same pattern. If they did, it would be easier to recognize the signs and not fall for it a second time. If you stay with him, please be wary of any other red flags that this person is not as emotionally safe and healthy as he seems. What can I, 40F, do about my husband, 44M, picking a favorite child? I have 2 daughters. We'll call them Shelby and Ariel. Here lately, I've noticed my husband doing things or allowing things that only favor Ariel. For example, he'll let Ariel get a snack out of the pantry but tell Shelby no and say something like, "It's too close to dinner time." Or, he'll let Ariel snuggle and tell Shelby, "There's not enough room for you to snuggle too." He'll do activities like 2-player video games with Shelby but that leaves Ariel out because, well, it's only 2-player. I confronted him about it because I was getting visibly angry seeing Shelby crying and upset and saying, "Why is Daddy being so mean?" But he said, "I never did that," and denied the whole thing. Of course, this made Shelby cry even harder. She's only 4.5. Luckily, I had a family member over visiting that witnessed it as well and they interjected and backed us up. After that, he blamed it on his ADD and said that if he's doing things like that, he doesn't realize it at all and that he didn't mean to. The only even slightly logical reasoning I can see is that I nearly died in childbirth with Ariel. I had a significant and horrible recovery where he was basically having to take complete care of her and me both. So her and I didn't get that golden hour or bonding time, etc., but he did. She even says she loves Daddy more and is just a complete daddy's girl, and I always attribute it to not getting that bonding time. I'll go to my grave with the regret of how that birth went. Is this something I just need to chalk up to, it is what it is, and we just have to deal with it? Nip this in the bud immediately. He needs to get into counseling, and perhaps you need couples counseling. Selecting a golden child to love more will have long-lasting and devastating consequences for both of your daughters. The elder could become entitled and the younger quite angry. Blaming his ADHD is a joke. He's just uses excuses and not being a good dad. Just food for thought. The golden child and scapegoat dynamic is a tactic that's often used by narcissistic parents. I'd personally want to consider my husband's behavior as a whole, as well as handling this specific issue, because this could be a symptom of a larger problem. He needs therapy. You both do. And not because his ADD made him do it, because that's not how that works. If you don't address this, it will really harm both your children. The families with dynamics like this end up doing that. It will harm the relationship between your children. Ariel will possibly grow up spoiled or entitled from the treatment. Shelby will feel neglected. It also sounds like you're blaming yourself for nearly dying? I'm sure he did have to take care of a lot after that. That's how that works. Do not leave it as, "It is what it is, how dare you do that to your child." Get it sorted immediately. I hate to say, but my mind immediately went to abuse reading this. Are there many more concerning behaviors? While the exclusion is unforgivable, the favoritism could be a sign of more. I hope you get a handle on the situation soon. 33F, found condom searches from my husband, 33F. Found condoms in the Amazon searches. We have never used condoms. We have kids, we're married, 10+ years, and I'm currently pregnant. I asked him why he was searching for condoms as it came up in the search, and he said he wasn't. I thought that was weird, and then he said for after I have the baby. I could tell he was lying. I don't think he's cheating on me, but why would he lie? If he hadn't said no and looked like he looked, I would have just believed him because I've been pushing for a vasectomy and he is resistant. But that first no, when I asked if he was searching for them, makes me extremely suspicious. I have never ever looked at his phone, we just don't do that, but I had to know if he was cheating, so I looked anyways and found searches for pocket pussy too. I'm just extremely hurt. I don't want to ask about the pocket pussy because I'm hurt and embarrassed that he's rather fuck a pocket pussy than me. We have sex at least once a week, it's not a lot but it's not nothing. I'm hesitant to talk about it because of the condom lie. Are the condoms for the pocket pussy? I realize using pocket pussies isn't cheating, so why does it feel like it is? We have multiple children and have been together for over a decade and he's never mentioned it at all. I guess I have to get over my feelings and ask. Maybe he wants more sex, and that's fine, but why not just talk to me about it? All these years and I just feel like he's bored with me or something. I don't know, I'm just really hurt. Maybe he doesn't want any more kids. Maybe he wants more sex. There's a real possibility that the condoms are for use with said pocket pussy, just putting that out there. Also, this isn't any different than a woman with a sex toy of her own. It takes nothing from her partner and is simply an additional means for his pleasure. Is there something wrong with him using his body for pleasure in addition to having sex with you? Do you masturbate? Pushing a vasectomy is a pretty big red flag. No guy likes condoms, but if the choices are condoms or surgery, his search history sounds reasonable. You don't by any chance have a teenage boy? It's okay to feel upset about something like this, but I would have approached it differently. Talk about both of your needs, and if he needs his PP and prefers an easier clean up during his own time, let him be.